Okay, your little quadratics book, go ahead and turn to page 5. That is factoring and decomposing. So in this case, we're given a trinomial already, and we're going to factor out as much stuff as we can to eventually get to two binomials and maybe a multiplier. So we're given 6x squared plus 8x plus 2. Notice that 6, 8, and 2 are all even coefficients, so you could definitely factor out a 2. So we have a 2 on the outside now, and then in the parentheses we have 6x squared divided by 2 plus 8x divided by 2 plus 2 divided by 2. Now, you don't have to actually write this step out. This is just how you would get from this step, first step, to our next step. So now you're going to multiply our A times our C, A and C, that gives you 3. So when we write our X, on the top we're going to write our product of A times C, which was 3. At the bottom we're going to write 4 because our B term is 4. Our B coefficient is 4. And then on the sides are our B components after it's been decomposed. We're going to list out factor pairs of 3, which would just be 3 and 1, and negative 3 and negative 1. Notice the one that gives us the sum that we want is 3 and 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, and that's what our B coefficient is. So we're going to write a 3 and a 1 right here. Again, it doesn't matter which one you put on the left or the right. And then we'll draw our box. So in this case, instead of starting with the outside terms, we're going to write the terms on the inside and work our way out. So we're going to first write our 3x squared, which was our first term, and then our decomposed b's, plus 3x plus x, and then our last term plus 1. Now to get this number right here, you're going to pull out the greatest common factor of the first two terms in the first row. Notice that 3x squared and plus 3x both share 3x, so you can pull that out. Now if you were not sure that that's the biggest number you could pull out, you would divide those and see if anything else were in common with the two. We're going to go ahead and divide them anyway to get our terms at the top. So we have 3x squared divided by 3x, that gives you x. And then 3x divided by 3x is 1. To get our last term on this side, we're going to say what times x will give you x, which would just be a 1. And so you'll write these at the bottom. Make sure that you put a 2 on the outside from our factored out 2 at the beginning. Let's try another example. So factor example 1. Go ahead and see if you can factor this by yourself first. So pause the video. Our expression is 6x squared minus 9x minus 15. Okay, so notice that all three of our coefficients all divide by 3. So we can pull out a 3. What we have left is 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. So we'll do our A times our C, so 2 times negative 5 gives you negative 10. And then at the bottom of our X, we're going to put our B, which is negative 3. Now let's go ahead and list the factor pairs of negative 10. We have negative 10 and 1, and negative 5 and 2. We also have 10 negative 1 and 5 negative 2, but since our B is negative, we know that our largest number must be negative for this to have a sum that's negative. So negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. That's not what we want. And then negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Yes, that is the one that we want to use. So our decomposed B parts are negative 5 and 2. So if we go ahead and write those in the box, again, don't forget the 3 at the end. We have 2x squared, and then our decomposed parts, negative 5x and positive 2x. And then our last term, which is a minus 5. Okay, so for our first row, we're going to pull out our greatest common factor. Do they both have a 2? No. Do they both have a 5? No. Do they have a negative sign? No. How about an x? Yes, they have an x. How many? Just one. Okay, let's divide 2x squared divided by x. That will give you 2x, and then negative 5x divided by x is negative 5. Okay, what times 2x gives you 2x? That'd just be a plus 1. So we're ready to write our answer. So we have a 3 parentheses, 2x minus 5, and then parentheses, x plus 1. And then that is our factored form. Okay, let's try another example. Factoring example 2. So go ahead, pause the video, see if you can find this one yourself. Okay, so we look at our coefficients. There's nothing we can take out of these. They are all relatively prime to one another. So we'll go ahead and skip that step and go straight to the a times c. Since there's nothing in front of the x squared, we're going to say our a is 1. So 1 times 12 is 12. Our b is negative 7. So now we're going to write factor pairs of 12 that will give you a negative 7. So notice that it's a negative 7, so both of our factors should be negative. So negative 12 and negative 1, negative 6 and negative 2, and then negative 4, negative 3. Okay, negative 12 plus negative 1 is negative 13. That's not what we want. Okay, our next one, negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8. Oh, that's so close, but still not negative 7. And then our last one, negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. Yes, that's the one that we want. So we're going to write our decomposed b on the sides, negative 4 and negative 3. Now we're going to write our terms in the box. So we have our first term, x squared, and then our decomposed b's, negative 4x and negative 3x. And then our last term, our c, plus 12. Now what can we pull out of both x squared and a minus 4x? Well, there's no numbers they have in common besides 1. They do share an x, though. So let's divide each of the terms of the box by x on this row. So we have x and negative 4. Okay, what times x gives you negative 3x? That'd be a negative 3. So our answer, our factored form is parentheses x minus 3 and parentheses x minus 4. So that is our factored expression.